Hello, everyone. This is Austin Scher here with We Write About Music, and today I am back on again with Davey Harris. He has just shared his third single. It is titled Predictable. I am super excited to talk to you all again about it. How have you been? Thank you so much for coming back on today.
I've been really well. It's a fun journey to release your music, and it's horrifying, and it awakens something in your soul, which is really cool.
It's soul
And
bearing, if anything.
yeah, uh, it's funny because at this point in my still young life, I've released a bunch of songs through my band, The Tins,
Mhm.
and every release there was always this hope of like, oh my god, this is gonna be the thing that changes our life, because once the world hears this song, holy tamale. And then there was also the dread of like, maybe it's not that good, or I wonder, and then it would be no one would really care, and then you'd be like, well, the next one, and then it would be that same cycle. So I think I'm a pro at having my emotions torn apart inside, and but it's fun now, and I no longer feel like I have something to prove. I'm more just like,
Shouldn't.
I'm sitting on 39 songs right now, and it
Jesus,
just keeps
man.
growing, and so now I'm just attempting to release them in a way that makes sense, and I really want to get like, I want to milk each release for what it's, because I think
You
everything's
should.
brilliant that I
Well,
release.
no, every song should
Yeah.
have its moment. And I honestly, I want to touch on something you just said. I think like because we're so tuned into social media and we're so tuned into just news in general, we've kind of grown accustomed to thinking that, well, I saw this one person put out something stupid, and the next day everyone in the world knew their name. And we trick ourselves into thinking it's going to be you. But the realistic matter of it all is that it's this slow build. The more content you put out, people are going to take it and they're going to leave it. You're going to, you're going to add fans, you're going to take away fans. But the fact that your creativity hasn't dwindled throughout this whole time and you're sitting on so much music that's just waiting to come out, and it says something about you as a person, let alone just an artist and a musician. You know what I mean?
Well, thank you. I hope so. That
Yeah.
feels like a nice little compliment, so I'll
It's
write it
true
in my
though.
diary.
It's true. Um, Obviously, I want to talk to you about the song "Predictable." It's another hit. I mean, honestly, I'm not even joking. I probably listened to it 10 times today already. Not for the purposes of studying, but just for the purposes of like, this is a damn good song, and no one's here, so I've just been cranking it up. Just like last time, I'd love a background. I'd love to know what it's about and if there's any personal story behind this one.
This is kind of a coming of age song for me, and I because I wrote it like 7 or so years ago.
Oh wow. Okay.
I mean, in one version of the song, and when in the with the band at the time, like I had all these, I was that guy that like brought 10 songs to the band, and we all wrote music, and so it was like the band, we would just choose which song to work on. So
Sure.
that, honestly, that song got in the rejection pile, which was fine.
What?
And
That's hard to believe.
yeah, well, life, funny thing. And
True.
so I, we had an intern at the time for the Tins, and we called him a Tintern. And he had a final project in his college that involved work, like creating music, like doing a music thing. And it was a decent school, but they had very good equipment.
Okay.
And I the band didn't want to do that. Like we had already tasted the forbidden fruit of super high level producers, and so it was like, well, why would we work with someone learning in college? And then for me, I was like, oh, this is my opportunity to try something. And so I ended up going, and for 4 days I did four songs, and this was my first time attempting to sing and not thinking very much of it,
Okay.
really, like at the time. So I recorded the song there, and left, and then had this recording that I still didn't even know what to do with, of this song, and kind of held on to it.
Okay.
And it was basically when I met certain people and shared some of my demos, people who I had a lot of respect for, they saw something in that one song, and kind of pushed me to work with like another producer and turn it into something like finished. And then I was like kind of waiting for the moment to release that song, because that song is what sparked a solo music career for myself. But it kind of took COVID and really the indefinite hiatus of the Tins in order to give myself the kind of the courage and space to release it. And so it's like healing for me and like cool to release this, and kind of has been a long time coming. And so that's kind of the origin story of the song. I've worked on it with a few individuals who are just really talented, and they gave me new perspective on the music, and that was also a journey in songwriting.
That's a great story, but it also begs the question of, obviously this song is extra meaningful to you in so many ways. Why wasn't it your debut single?
Yeah, well, so I've had two releases thus far.
Right.
The first one was Glamour, and that was a collaboration with Luca, and that was me being, kind of inviting in support and using that first step as a collaborative effort. It didn't really hurt that song is kind of representative of like this murder and sex addiction stuff, and it's a weird. If you saw the music video of that, it's a very odd debut song.
Right.
It makes, but it's also like kind of, I was just like, why not start here? Why not make my mom sad right away? And then and so then there was the thought of Self Saboteur or Predictable, which one coming next? And Self Saboteur felt a little bit lighter and like
Okay.
and versus Predictable, which felt a little more dense. And there's no necessary rhyme or reason. Like I could second guess each release, especially now sitting on like 39 songs. It's like, oh, which one? What's the right next song? And
that's true. There's no right like, order. There's never going to be a right answer. It's always going to be up in the air in some regard. I get it.
Yeah. So that was kind of the thought, where initially it was Predictable in this, and it was just waiting for timing. And I kind of just wanted my ducks in a row. And there's a fear of not wanting to blow your load, blow your wad, whatever.
Totally.
When it comes to like a song, and then it's now just I was on a plane recently and it was really turbulent, and I was like, what if this is the end of my life? And then it just became, well, I want to release this stuff as quickly as possible, while also being as kind of like strategic as possible.
Totally.
And I just mean strategic as in, I don't know, I want as many people as possible who would actually like this to listen to it. So yeah, that's
I fully understand that, and it's tough as an artist. Like, there's two trains of thought here. One is in your situation where you have so much music sitting there waiting to be released or recorded or whatever it is. And then there's the other artist who they come out with one great song and that's kind of it. And they're like, oh, I've got to follow it up with something. I'd obviously much prefer to be in your situation, to have too much than too little. But at the same time, it also must be overwhelming, because now you've got this backup of work, and people don't realize that it's not just recording a song and putting it out. There's so many hidden steps in the background. Like, has your approach changed from release to release?
My approach changes second to second.
Okay.
Like, in some ways it's really a miracle that I've released anything, just based on all of the different contradictory thoughts that are running internally. Yeah, I mean, the first release was more horrifying. Just like, I'm becoming an artist. I'm doing this. Like, I'm putting my name out there.
Right.
And then there was space. And then the second release was almost looking back at the first one, like, was that great? Was that horrible? I don't know. And will it live up to that? Was that anything? Right. There's the second, and then it was just releasing. And I thought it was, what I liked about Self Saboteur in concept is just, it's all about you being your own worst enemy and being the roadblock in front of you. And I just felt like it was a healing, healthy thing to release that, and that it could be relatable to certain people. and it was almost one where I wanted to release it first, as opposed to like being like, and eventually I'll be a self-saboteur. It was just like, okay, that's an old version of myself that I'd like to just kind of dispel and complete, and ideally help other people with that. So that was where it just felt meaningful to do it that way. And then it became, okay, now let's release this one song that's been like a foundation for myself as a solo artist. And so that, I mean, yeah, that's really the sequence there. As far as the strategy goes, I want to have a song and a music video. And really the whole reason is like, it's nice to have a representation visually of the song.
Totally.
And I feel like I'm getting better at music videos, like as we're kind of creating them, where you're not telling the same story as the song. You're telling a different story and enhancing the song in the process. Yeah, and I guess for my time on Earth, you know, I'd like to make this as important as possible. Because if you believe it's important, then other people may believe it's important too.
Well, people are going to listen to your lyrics and they're going to take whatever message they want to hear. You could be here outright reading line to line and saying, this is what the song is about. It doesn't matter. People are generally dumb, in my opinion, and are going to interpret it however they want. You know what I mean? So people find their highlights, and even just hearing your release schedule and recording schedule and everything that you just explained, it honestly kind of makes sense that you release these in the way that you did. Like maybe it was a good idea not to like come out immediately on it. So I mean, bravo to you for figuring it out. It's a tough thing, and there's no right answers.
Well, thank you very much.
Totally.
My phone is being passive aggressive on me and letting us know that I have 10% battery life.
Got it. Well, that's okay. We're gonna make it work. Um, if you could go back, let's say like 6 months or so, and with all the knowledge that you've learned so far from release to release, is there anything you would have done differently up until this point over the past 6 months?
I think I like chaos a little bit, because it's almost like it's representative of energy and momentum. And right now I feel momentum and energy. And so, you know, was it messier than it needed to be? Are things slower than other people would like them to be? Perhaps. But you know, there's not necessarily something I would do differently, other than I'm still learning, right? So I'm at a point now where I'm like, give me 2 years, then I'll have a lot of solid lessons for what to do differently. You know, right now I'm like, I'm not quite at the lesson point yet to really know. I'm still in the experiment. Yeah,
that's okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of where I'm at, where I think everything I've done has let me know what I'm up to right now and where I'm at. So my immediate gut response is, I think it's fine, everything that's happened thus far.
I think that's a solid answer as well, because you may not realize it now. It may come a month from now, but there could be this catastrophic moment where it's like, oh, I'm just going to make this little shift and things are going to be different. But you won't know until it happens. I think we slightly touched on this the last time we spoke, but it's something that I wanted to follow up on. As far as like the lyricism goes and the messages of not only this song, but I guess everything you've made, are you crafting the sound based on like the message of the song? Like if it's a slightly, not necessarily negative, but like not as positive message, would the sound reflect that?
I think that's a good question. And there are different phases of the song writing.
Sure.
So the initial phase for me a lot of times is writing on guitar and having a vocal melody with some theme. Like I basically am searching for what is the hook to me that is intriguing, where I as a listener get satisfaction. And I think I mentioned this before, it's like when I'm writing songs, it's kind of this escapism on crack, where I'm looking to create a reality that is maybe more intoxicating than the current one. And so I'm like escaping into music. And so the better this song is, the more intoxicating the melody or the message, the more fun it is to jump in there, as opposed to, you know, the mundanity, if that's a word, of life.
I think so.
So, I mean, just I could address each song differently, but with predictable, like literally I wrote it one night when I was like kind of not feeling too good. And I wrote it on piano, and just, it was like the hook about everything being predictable. And this, I like, so for that song, like, I don't know if you know this, but the ending for me of Predictable is uncomfortably long. Like every time I listen, I'm like, dang, I wish the song ended sooner. But then I also remember that I like that it's going on for too long because it emphasizes the theme, which is you're kind of caught in this hamster wheel of life, or this Groundhog's Day type thing. So that's just an example of where like the sonic piece and the message seem to work together. I like in Predictable as well. It's a little bit about kind of going crazy because same day over and over again, and like literally the French voice in the very beginning and at the end is actually a recording of this woman from, I think, like 50 years ago. It's literally a recording of someone from an insane asylum.
Where did you get that?
I thank my producer Rush for finding that. And he says, yeah, it was really, that was a fun thing. And I don't know what he's trying to say about me at the time, but yeah, so that would be another example of the sonic nature. Kind of, it's having almost like a carnival effect. But yeah, there, like in that song, there's a release at the end of the song, and that's kind of the buildup of like you can break that cycle. So I think Predictable, we did a good job of having the sonic piece embodied and enhance the message.
No, I think that you did a great job on that. I mean, I definitely didn't notice the French part, or at least like it blended in well enough. But it's the first thing I'm gonna do when I hang up is listen to it again to catch that. Also, like as far as genre goes, your music does have I'm not gonna say similar because each song does sound different. It holds a signature style to it. This one though kind of was similar, like a Brit poppy like way, which I wasn't expecting, like an Arctic Monkeys ish kind of essence to it. I don't know. I don't know if that's what you were going for, but I particularly liked it because it stood out specifically from the other two in a way. So don't know if that was the intention, but
cool. My intention is to write the best song possible in the moment. And I like to play with genres because I get bored easily, and I just assume that other people get as bored of music as I do. And
it's true. I do, that's for sure. I mean, there's too much music out there.
Yeah, so I at this point, at least in songwriting, because I was in the studio last weekend and worked on 3 songs, and they all, I would say, are very different. And I don't know, my goal is to not do the same thing twice. So it's kind of like, as you hear the next grouping of songs, we'll find out if you think that they're all fitting in the same world, or if they're jumping to different places.
I guess we'll just find out. Only time will tell.
Yeah.
I'm actually really happy you brought that up. I've got a couple more for you before your phone dies.
Great.
But I want to know what's on the way. What can you say that's coming up? Obviously, you're a busy guy that always has something in the works and a lot to work on. Can you give anyone a glimpse of what's next?
Well, I'm playing a show at Hotel Cafe in LA.
Nice.
In 2 weeks. So that's a cool thing. And we have the music video for Predictable coming out in a few weeks. So that's exciting. And then on the horizon will be another song. What that song will be, time will tell.
Keep it a surprise for now. Love that.
Oh yes, it will be even a surprise to me. We haven't yet figured out exactly which song. So
that's awesome. Hey man, as long as it's exciting for you, that's all that matters. You're the one putting the time and effort in. You're the one who enjoys the chaos. Do what makes you happy.
Yes, chaos magic, as they say.
There you go. All right, Davey, one more for you, and it is the same question that I asked you the last time we finished up. Basically, for the person that is going to discover you from this, and for the person that is going to listen to your music for the first time, what is an opening message that you'd like to say to them?
I would say one moment. And then I would say, welcome to the wonderful world of Davey Harris. I wish you a wondrous journey as you're listening to this music, and feel free to listen again on drugs. and let me know what you think.
There you go. Fantastic, man. I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day, and I'm glad that we could do this before the phone hit zero. Let me plug your music one more time for you. The song is called Predictable. It is his third single, so please check out the first two. We're going to have the links so you guys can listen and share and follow and do all that fun stuff. But yeah, man, I'm excited to see what happens next. And it's as much a mystery to you as it is to me at this point. So,
Well, thank you very much, Austin. This is always fun. See you next time.
always a blast, man. Take care. I'll talk to you later. Bye bye.